Welcome to Time Capsule. Subscribe to help us preserve our shared history for generations to come.
What would you do if a single man rose from dirt-poor orphan to the highest office in the land, promising to fight for ordinary Americans, and then ended up changing the nation in ways that still echo today? Was he a fearless champion of the people or a ruthless destroyer of lives? That's the story of Andrew Jackson, the 7th President of the United States. Jackson was a war hero, a frontier legend, and a fiery fighter for what he called the common man. But his legacy is tangled with violence, controversy, and painful truths. Today we'll dig deeper, beyond the legends, to see how Andrew Jackson truly changed America forever. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's dive into the dramatic and stormy life of Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was born in 1767 on the Carolina frontier, in a settlement rougher than anything most people today can imagine. His father died before he was born, and his mother struggled to raise him during the chaos of the American Revolution. By 13, Jackson was already serving as a militia courier and was captured by the British. When a British officer demanded that the boy polish his boots, Jackson refused, earning a slash across his face with a sword that left a lifelong scar. After losing both of his brothers and his mother to war and disease, Jackson grew up an orphan, tough as nails, with a hatred of the British and a determination to make his own way in the world. In his teens, Jackson moved west to what is now Tennessee, where he studied law, built a practice, and made a name for himself as a relentless prosecutor. But the frontier was violent, and Jackson wasn't afraid to meet violence head-on. He fought duels, brawled with rivals, and defended his personal honor with terrifying determination. In 1812, the United States was once again at war with Britain, and Jackson answered the call. His greatest moment came at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815, where his outnumbered army crushed a powerful British force. Jackson became a national hero overnight, the symbol of a new American toughness that no European power could break. His success on the battlefield opened the door to politics. Jackson was a popular champion for the so-called common man, ordinary farmers and workers who felt ignored by the rich political elite. In 1824, he ran for president, but lost a bitterly disputed election decided in the House of Representatives. Jackson called it a corrupt bargain and never forgot it. In 1828, he ran again, and this time he won decisively. Jackson swept into office, promising to clean out corruption, break the grip of the Eastern elites, and give power back to ordinary voters. And he did change the presidency massively. Before Jackson, presidents often deferred to Congress, but Jackson saw himself as the direct voice of the people. He vetoed more bills than all his predecessors combined and wasn't afraid to challenge anyone who stood in his way. His enemies called him King Andrew for what they saw as his iron-fisted style, but his supporters adored him. Yet Andrew Jackson's story is not all triumph. One of the darkest stains on his presidency was his policy of Indian removal. Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act of 1830, which led to the forced relocation of tens of thousands of Native Americans from their ancestral homelands.
It gives me pleasure to announce to Congress that the benevolent policy of the government is steadily pursued.
The most infamous result was the Trail of Tears, a brutal march where thousands died of hunger, disease, and exhaustion. Jackson defended it as a way to open land for settlers, but today historians see it as a human tragedy on a massive scale. Jackson also fought a high-stakes war against the Bank of the United States, which he believed was a dangerous concentration of power favoring wealthy elites. He vetoed its recharter and removed federal deposits, an action that sparked an enormous financial fight and sent shockwaves through the economy. Jackson claimed he was saving democracy from a financial monster, but critics argued he plunged the country into a banking crisis. Through it all, Jackson remained fearless. He survived an assassination attempt, the first ever on a sitting president, and beat his would-be assassin with his own cane. He had a fierce temper, but a powerful sense of loyalty to his allies and followers. After serving 2 turbulent terms, Jackson retired to his Tennessee plantation, the Hermitage. There he remained a towering figure in American politics, still influencing the next generation of leaders and shaping what came to be known as the Democratic Party. He died in 1845, respected by millions, but hated by many. Andrew Jackson left behind a legacy that Americans still debate fiercely today. Was he a hero who stood up for the little guy and reshaped democracy? Or was he a tyrant who trampled the rights of Native Americans and expanded executive power far beyond what the founders ever intended? The answer, as with so many figures in history, is complicated. Jackson embodied the best and the worst of America's frontier spirit: courage, determination, resilience, but also cruelty and injustice. He showed the nation what powerful leadership could achieve, but also how dangerous it could become without limits. So, what do you think? Was Andrew Jackson the champion of the common man, or a dangerous force that left deep wounds on the nation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Andrew Jackson's controversial story, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss another time capsule adventure. Thanks for watching, and remember, history isn't just about dates and wars. It's about real people, with all their flaws and triumphs, whose choices still shape our world today. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you all for listening to my story. Until next time, farewell.